So I almost didn't make this vid because I didn't want to end up repeating a lot of the things that I said about the Rockets when they lost to the Warriors, but some things since then have changed. 1, Anthony Davis is now a Laker. 2, we've heard some rumors about Chris Paul and James Harden maybe not being on the same page. 3, the Rockets are apparently getting very aggressive in the rumor mill themselves in terms of wanting Jimmy Butler and trying to convince Philly to do a sign and trade, and they want to get another first-round pick to help that out, and that means they may end up trading Eric Gordon or Clint Capella or PJ Tucker or whatever. So there's a whole lot of stuff here, and I think there's a case to make for going for, I guess, Jimmy Butler or just a third star in general versus not wanting to do it. So I think the first thing to say is, if the Rockets chose to not go this route, like let's say they just use their mid-level, which they do have, to get one more good player, whoever that may be, whether it's Danny Green, Wesley Matthews, insert 7 other good free agents who you can get for about $8 million this offseason, would that be good enough for them to win a championship? And let's say they do kind of well with some mid-season trade that doesn't cost them too much because they still have all their first-round picks. Like, I don't know, maybe they figure something crazy out somehow, right? Or a good buyout player, that sort of thing. Could that team be good enough to beat the Lakers? Probably not. I mean, if Chris Paul was 100% himself of like 2 years ago, then maybe. But even then, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the same team, right? So it's understandable for Daryl Morey to be like, no, I'm not going to stand by and watch this other team take over the West. I mean, that's the mentality this guy has had, right? He was always willing to go at the Warriors. That's why the Chris Paul trade happened. And now it seems he's going to go at the Lakers, and I can understand it. Especially this year where the Warriors are not going to be in contention because even if they re-sign Clay, he's going to be out for a while, and if they re-sign KD, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, you know, he's going to miss the whole season. So the Rockets are really just gunning for one team here, with all the respect in the world to all the other very good teams in the West, but you know what I mean. So that's number 1. And this is really the only way that they would make some sort of a significant leap, is if they said to themselves, okay, you know what, maybe we have to trade PJ Tucker, who's been very valuable for us, but we're confident that we can replace him. Now, do I think that's possible? Unless the guy you're getting back is Jimmy Butler, or you pull off some miraculous 3-team thing where you end up with like Robert Covington. No, I don't really think so. Besides all that, though, the actual logistics of how this would work would be pretty wild if they were going to go this sign and trade route, which all the rumors suggest they want to do that. Because, Jimmy's going to want the full max, and you're going to have to match that salary, so you're probably going to end up losing 2 players at the most. Now, Capella is probably the most easy to swallow trade because, centers in today's NBA, and how good really are you against the best teams, and do they really need him, and all that stuff. But losing Gordon and Tucker, or just losing one of them, and not getting an adequate replacement, that'd be a tough blow, certainly. And another thing to look at is, and I'm just going to keep saying Jimmy Butler, maybe it would be somebody else that they'd be willing to take on. There's a chance none of this ends up becoming much of anything, but Daryl Morey has proven that he's going to go for it, and he has all of his first-round picks, so he's got some ammo here. If they made that move, would the fit even work? So you, for one, would have 2 pretty strong personalities with Jimmy and Chris, whereas Harden is more of a reserved guy, and we've seen him... Look, we saw him have a falling out with Dwight Howard that was never really resolved. And then we've started to see these rumors of Chris not really loving the direction of the offense and all that. And now, there have been other tweets or Instagram posts or whatever by Chris Paul to suggest that none of these things are true. I'm going to guess some of it is true, okay? No, I don't think they hate each other or they're yelling at each other constantly, but I definitely think there's some lingering stuff, which could blow up in a big playoff series or whatever. If you threw Jimmy Butler into that mix, that could be the tipping point. where if the team is having a rough stretch, as they did to open up this season, would Jimmy Butler's personality kill the mood a little too much? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I don't think Jimmy Butler is just some monster who destroys locker rooms. But at the same time, he did destroy the Timberwolves locker room. So, there's kind of a two-way street here. And maybe it's not Jimmy. Maybe it's some other star that Houston could manage to acquire. Are they really going to be okay with the James Harden show? Because it already seems like Chris Paul is kind of not cool with it. And he wants them to run more actual offense and all that. And I'm going to assume a similar thing would be said for whatever star they could manage to get in here. So that would just be a balancing act where James Harden might have to be content with not having the ball as much, which is probably a good thing because the toll that guy has had to take game after game, month after month for this team is pretty ridiculous at this point. And I would like to think he'd be okay with that, and I do remember him saying some point in the regular season, like, I know I'm going to have to stop taking a million shots a game, but it's what I have to do right now. So I do think James Harden is a smart enough player to realize when it's okay to let go of the reins a little bit. But at the same time, he is kind of the ultimate outlier in terms of giving a player the team. And I don't know, I could picture it getting weird with a third star having expectations and Harden having expectations and all that stuff. But once again, talent is talent, and again, I don't know if this team can really beat the Lakers with the direction they're going in terms of where Chris Paul is at right now and all that stuff. So I think where I end up on all this, should they make moves, shouldn't they? If they traded Clint Capella tomorrow, I wouldn't really be that mad at them, assuming they didn't just get totally robbed. Gordon and Tucker, I think, are definitely more valuable. And if you're going to move either one of them, you better have the roadmap towards replacing them. So, I don't know. I guess give them the benefit of the doubt that they'd have a plan. But if I was in their shoes, I probably wouldn't have the guts to move either one of them. I'm just being honest. But of course, I'm not a general manager, so we'll see what Daryl Morey wants to do.